Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time again. You're watching another episode of Engine Room brought to you by Token Metrics. Happy Monday, November 8th. Today we're joined by Jacob Kutchgallup and Bill Noble. What's up, guys? Let's jump right into the news. I guess I want to first talk about Shiba Inu because Shiba has been like the story of crypto stories. If you missed out on Bitcoin years ago, if you missed out on all the Dogecoin hype, all you really needed to do was to put your money into another dog meme bucket, and this one was just called Shiba Inu. And a lot of people made a lot of money over the last few weeks, but it appears that those happy fat days are over. After some anonymous Shiba whale started moving around a few $1 billion worth of SHIB, it crashed like crazy and hasn't totally recovered. What do you guys make of this? I'll throw this out there. It's a bad idea to trade based on memes.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jacob. How much did you hear about Shiba at amongst young people? Did anybody talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, what I've just been hearing is that people are kind of wanted to FOMO or were upset that they didn't get in because they're like, among my crypto friends, they're like, well, I own all these good and valuable projects that I'm kind of hodling, and I didn't put my money in meme coins, and here I am getting 50% returns while they're getting 5,000% returns.
Right. That's a surefire signal that, probably Bitcoin's going to 125K and Solana's going to 1,000. Because, I mean, think about it, right? Everyone was like, oh, Shiba, I don't like that. And then it goes up. Now everyone's looking at their other portfolio going, oh, my God, maybe ETH and Solana are my dad's crypto? No.
Yeah.
So it's just like you go the other way on that. And unfortunately with SHIB, SHIB's just a lesson in how smart money can identify something that no one believed in. Like SHIB is a huge learning moment for everybody, including me, right? In other words, who would have believed that would have gone up? Nobody. Smart money bought it, and then retail was like, I missed it. They all pile in. Smart money's like, okay, here you go.
I mean, I remember now that you're saying that before the huge Shiba Inu run up, we saw Nansen for like 2 weeks before, just smart money buying it over and over and over. But we had no idea. I wasn't going to follow it just because smart money were doing it. But
right. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get on the air and say, hey, we're a sophisticated altcoin company. So
yeah, because here's smart money. All these smart money wallets are buying it, which maybe we should have.
Right. Well, I mean, we need to get the lesson from smart money that if everyone hates it, it can go up. Like real estate in 2009, right? How are housing prices doing these days? They're moving from the bottom left to top right. Who wanted to touch a house in 2009?
Yep.
Yeah. Nobody.
Right. Buy the stuff that people hate. And then if it's a meme coin, you can get retail to pile in. Frankly, it was genius. And all you can do is learn from it if you missed it and know that somewhere out there, there's another thing that people hate that can move.
Yeah. Well, as much as we love to talk about altcoins at Token Metrics, this was also a great couple of weeks to be holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now flirting around 66,000 per coin. And let's unpack this headline from CoinDesk is that Bitcoin is resuming an uptrend as real bond yields slide. Bill, help us understand these words.
Okay. So when you hear real bond yields, sparing you the economic lecture, it's basically comparing inflation and interest rates, which is kind of a joke. Interest rates are zero and inflation goes up every day. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, former Fed chairman and now Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is at a climate conference talking about printing anywhere from 100 to 150 trillion for climate change. Now, this is not a political podcast. Pundits are undoubtedly losing their mind over these figures. But what they don't know and what they don't understand is that Janet Yellen is not stupid. And she knows that we're going to have to print, we as in the United States, are going to have to print at least 100 trillion. The last estimate I saw was 89, but with inflation, we're going to have to print over 100 trillion to keep Social Security and Medicare going. So it's a kind of a bit of genius for Janet to just go, oh, look, it's a climate change conference. with a bunch of hippies who like printing money to save the planet. Cool. Let me just float this number. Because you can't just wake up one morning and go, you know what? We need to print 100 trillion. No, that doesn't work. So it's genius that she used the climate change conference to just float the number. And then as soon as Bitcoin, right, saw that number, Satoshi's vision, gets more and more solidified.
Yeah. There's an article here from Zero Hedge. This was written by Eric Peters, who is the chief investment officer of One River Asset Management. Direct quote from this CIO. Once you say 150 trillion a few times, it honestly doesn't seem so big. So
I saw that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So people's ideas about money are changing, both in and outside of crypto.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Bill. So what do you think 100 or 150 trillion will do to inflation in the US?
Okay, so that's a good question. So if we're using 100 trillion to make sure people can get food and medicine via, like, say, dollar coin, it'll keep inflation at about 12% per year. But I think we're looking at inflation at 12% per year for the rest of our life anyway. So if we're using that as a social safety net, it won't be a total disaster. Because, the fact that we print money so old people can get medicine and hospital care may not affect the price you pay for rent or a car. Now, if we start printing 150 trillion and they actually start using that for climate change, like, everything goes wind, everything goes solar, all investment in fossil fuels stops. So follow this for a second. Inflation's high, gas is at $3, probably more on the West Coast where you are. Annoying, right? They're not investing in producing more fossil fuels. So when you're talking about printing 150 trillion, they may have to do that so you can A, afford gas, but B, again, all the raw materials and all the things you'd need to buy all that green infrastructure. What's going to happen to the price of all that stuff? If money's free. So yeah, it's good to go green, man. I get it. Save the planet. But, if you're printing that so people can get food and medicine, that's one thing. If you print that to go buy stuff while simultaneously cutting off what the existing energy supply, you could print 150 trillion and see oil at 200.
Wow.
And good luck getting elected back in office with that number, but that's another story. That's a whole other podcast.
Bill, as you're talking about inflation, it kind of makes me wonder if we can mostly take it for granted that we're going to have to deal with 12% inflation per year for the rest of our lives. How do you deal with that? How do you push back against that? And I suspect one of the answers might be buy and hold cryptocurrency. But I wonder, what is that really going to do when it comes time to buy eggs and coffee from the grocery store?
Okay, so this is an important question. So I think it's a twofold strategy. One, you have to have crypto, okay, but you have to avoid paying for things in crypto. You have to look at crypto as like an investment, right? And then, as much as we would tell people the contrary, ironically, I think you're also going to have a portion of your portfolio where, dare I say it, but you're just going to have a much higher risk profile, right? You're going to have to take a shot at krill like you did on KuCoin.
Yeah.
Right? You're really going to have to go out and finding the next 10 or 100x is going to go from being something crazy crypto people do to something as common as 60-40 investing, where 60% stocks, 40% bonds, right? So we kind of look at everybody who wants the next 100x and we go, oh, God, come on. Are you asking me this again? Now, the other thing, which again is a whole separate podcast, think about all the raw materials in your life, right? Like tires on your car, go get them now. Go get 12 quarts of oil for an oil change in case oil goes to 150 again. There's a certain level of preparedness where, if you use raw materials and you've got a garage or a storage unit, you might want to just stay stocked. You don't have to be a lunatic, but it could wind up saving you, 25% on certain products if you get them now versus getting them later. And of course, that's the classic thing with inflation, right? The higher prices go, the more people hoard. The more people hoard, the higher prices go. And who stops this? Well, normally the Fed. Oh, wait, but they're printing 150 trillion. So.
I kind of want to ask the opposite of the question I just asked, which was about how to, protect yourself from inflation. How can people theoretically use inflation to profit? I heard, I'm kind of putting this together from something that I heard from a few different people, but one of the critiques of a certain former U.S. president was that inflation made him very wealthy because he had so many fingers in the real estate business.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, profiting from inflation, I think, anybody with capital is probably going to be dropping their money into hard assets, stuff, even cars. And I know people with luxury cars that because of the production process, even though the car is used and it's got mileage on it, they can sell the car for more than they paid for it, even though they've used it. Right. And, so stuff for profiting, right? For young people, I don't know, man. It's just a generation of speculators. Like we talk about SHIB and Doge as if they were like one-offs. Like, oh, I missed SHIB. It was a generational wealth creating opportunity. Yeah, I know everyone uses that when people make billions. But honestly, SHIB and just flat out speculation is exactly what people did in the 70s. Like you can Google Hillary Clinton getting in trouble on the campaign trail a long time ago for speculating in cattle futures. Back in the 70s, like that's what people did. They speculated in commodities. They bet on commodities to try to hedge. And of course, we all know at tokenmetrics.com, what's the best commodity? The digital commodity, crypto.
Yeah, no one can take it from you.
Young people are literally going to get forced into it, which is a good thing because they want to go there anyway. So they're just going to go there faster.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you bring that up because I'm looking at it almost like it's human nature. Humans are gamblers. We want to get the most reward for the least amount of effort. So humans are always going to be gambling, always going to be speculating on what gets them the next 100x. And if it's a meme dog coin, it's a meme dog coin. If the next one's a meme cat coin, then so be it. And I agree, it's not just a one-off. It's human nature.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched World Series or any like pro sports, Crypto.com has got Matt Damon, which is probably an actor that would connect to my generation, going through a commercial where he says, some people explored and didn't make it. And you're like, oh my God, you don't want that to be me. And then he says, some people did make it. And then he shows an astronaut, right? And then he just stands out over this like vision of a planet and just looks right at you like an action hero and goes, fortune favors the brave.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as simple as that.
I'm dying to know why they didn't use the phrase "fortune favors the bold," which I feel like is the more established phrase. But no matter, that's just the editor in me. You've triggered the editor in me by reminding me of that unusual word choice. Anyway, guys, the name of the podcast is Engine Room. You can watch us on YouTube, on the Token Metrics YouTube channel. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. You can't help but make money if you listen to us in the long term. We do this 3 days a week, so we hope to see you Wednesday and Friday. And we wish you a very happy beginning of the week. The market is always open, so we are always thinking about you and what you could be doing to where to put your money to make more money, basically. Anyway, guys, that'll wrap it for this episode. Thank you very much.